Hi, welcome to Mel's Health. I'm Mel, it's lovely to have you here. This is the first video that I've ever made of myself, so please bear with me on this one. It's probably not going to be the best sounding and it's definitely not the best aesthetic because I'm just sat in a storage room. But as I continue on with this channel, I'm thinking things can only get better. I hope so anyway. So why am I here? Well, I've decided to start this up because despite 2020 being an absolutely terrible year for everyone, I've had probably what I would regard as the worst year of my life so far in regards to health issues. If you were to go on my actual page, you would see in the banner that I refer to pulmonary embolism. But the reason why I've decided to call this Mel's Health and nothing PE specific is that I've had a few other health issues this year. But I also think there's quite a lot of side effects when being in recovery from pulmonary embolism, such as coming off the oral contraceptive pill, or like in my case, being diagnosed with a deficiency. So my content here will refer mainly to recovering from pulmonary embolism, but it will address my other health issues also. So who am I? Well, hi, I'm Mel. I'm a 32-year-old Brit. I'm currently living in Canada. I've been here for about 3 years now. As you can see from all the stuff that's in my background, I like to mountain bike. And I like to ski. So I like to stay active, but I'm in no way a fit person. I like mountain biking and skiing, but if I'm going uphill, I am always puffing, completely out of breath, hating every minute of it, desperate for it to end. But the down is always worth it, so that's why we do it. What I'm trying to convey here is that when it came to cardio before all of this, I was not your girl. I have to be pushed to do stuff. I'm pretty lazy, but I enjoy it once I'm out there. In the grand scheme of things, before all of this happened to me, I was just your average, healthy, marginally fit, 30-something-year-old girl with no health concerns, just lazy until pushed. Prior to being diagnosed as well, I was working full-time in a brewery. I was in a managerial position and it entailed me being on my feet for 8 hours a day with no break. I'd be running around a busy tasting room, I'd be serving, cleaning, lifting heavy objects like kegs or flats of beer with no issue. My shifts would be all over the place, either earlies or finishing late, gone midnight. And it never occurred to me at the time how physically demanding that kind of role is. It was totally normal for me to go for those 8 hours with no break, no sitting down, making sure everyone else was sorted out before me. And now it's such a big ask and I can't do it. Due to this, I've only been able to work for 2 days a week with rest days in between, so it helps bring down my fatigue and pain. But because of that, my income has drastically reduced. Some real talk. Long-term health issues weigh on you physically and mentally, but a huge part of that mental stress is financially. I was kind of lucky, if you call it that, during the initial lockdown period that we had here, that I secured some government stimulus while I was off sick. But that ended for us here at the very beginning of October. And despite being sick and still having this ongoing illness, I've not received any other support from the government since. My poor fiance's paycheck cannot continue to subsidise us any longer. So my goal for this channel is to build up a community hub or a one-stop shop where information can be easily found for those who have either got first-hand experience being diagnosed with a blood clot issue or maybe someone close to you has. I found it very easy to get lost in that sea of Google searches and YouTube videos, just trying to get information about people's personal experiences and what the journey might look like on this recovery. So I've decided to document my experience of recovery to help get some information out there and possibly help others along the way. I do intend to make informative, educational videos on the topic, as well as give you guys some relatable content outlining my actual experiences. I am not a medical professional in any sense of the word, and I'm not giving out medical advice at all, but I will be educational and informative in my videos, trying just to make the topics easy to understand. So to sum up what's brought me to this channel and my year's health to date, my struggles started right at the start of the year, back in January. I literally walked into 2020 like this. The worst migraine of my life, which started on Christmas Day last year, turned into a diagnosis of Bell's palsy a whole 9 days into this year. I will make a future video on exactly what that condition is, but in a nutshell, half my face was paralysed for some time. It was highly unpleasant. I had to drink through a straw. I had to tape this eye closed at night in order to go to sleep and stop my eye drying out. It's not nice. And to this day, almost a year on, I still get pain on that side of my face. If I get a headache, it's usually right above the left eyebrow here. Still ongoing. Then the whole world, we all started to experience these first waves of lockdowns. And here in BC, Canada, that started in mid-March. But fast forward to the end of April, I started to have some real sharp pain in my right side and kind of upper back area. That was there for about 3 days, and I couldn't lift heavy objects. I couldn't lie flat on my back. Any deep breaths or like sharp intakes, like a cough or a sneeze, were just not happening because it was far too painful. So after dealing with that for 3 days and it not really subsiding, I presented to the emergency room, and the doctor had a little listen and basically said that I had intercostal myalgia, and that is basically muscle strain in the rib area. Your intercostal muscles, they help with the mechanism of breathing, and I was told it should subside in a few days, even though I'd already had it for a few days, but just to take some painkillers, rest it out, stretch through the pain, like breathe through the pain. I didn't have any scans or anything at that point. That was just some advice, and off I went. It didn't really subside, the pain. It got to a point where it was manageable, and in my head I was thinking it's muscle strain, so I just kind of dealt with it for a while. Fast forward 1 month exactly from that day that I presented to the ER. We're now at the end of May, and I had to present back there with severe respiratory issues in the midst of this pandemic of a respiratory virus. But there I ended up being diagnosed with what's categorized as submassive pulmonary embolism and pneumonia on top. So not only did I have multiple large blood clots in both my lungs, I also had pneumonia on top, which is an infection that inflames the air sacs within the lungs. So sometimes generally they can fill with fluid, and it will cause you to cough or phlegm, and you can get fevers and chills and difficulty breathing. So 2 severe lung issues. So now it's December 2020, and I'm currently a little over 6 months into this journey, this little episode of my life in recovery from pulmonary embolism. I recently in November had my 6-month review, and unfortunately it wasn't the best news, as I still have all the same clots in all the same places as I had 6 months ago. They're just ever so slightly smaller. So I'm going to be on this recovery journey for some time to come. And my thrombosis doctor did say that is quite a rarity. It's a small amount of patients that end up going through this and are still feeling pain at this point. Usually 3 months on blood thinners will suffice for a large chunk of patients, and then a little chunk will move to the 6-month point. But every now and then it can happen where clots are just stubbornly hard. This can happen sometimes more in women than it does in men, where excess estrogen is the primary cause of these clots, or potential cause of these clots. There are a lot of cases as well that end up requiring people to be on blood thinning medications for life. That's something that may happen with me, but I will go into that in a subsequent video. So to round up this little introduction video here, I just wanted to let everybody know that I do have a Patreon page where you can support me to continue creating more content, but also by supporting me you could gain access to my personal Discord server and some exclusive, more raw content of me going through my recovery. But if you were to join the Discord server, there you can directly chat with me, you could post questions or information, maybe share your story. And my hope is that people will join and interact with one another in a private, safe space. As I said earlier, I'd love to create a community hub of support where I can still learn from people who are out there who've had similar experiences, and maybe other people can really gain some valuable information that way as well. My next video is going to be more along that educational side, where I'm going to be outlining what PE is and related issues, and also look at the severity scale of being diagnosed with a pulmonary embolism. Following on from that, I will then give you guys more of a relatable video where it'll be a full story outlining the day that I got diagnosed and was admitted to hospital. Then for future videos, I've got an abundance of information which I hope will prove useful to people currently going through this, people that might be at the start of their journey and wondering what on earth there is to come. Things like my referral to the thrombosis clinic, my review periods, the genetic testing I've had, coming off the oral contraceptive pill, the medications I've been given and the costs of those, all the different scans that I've had, and much, much more. So if this sounds like something you might be interested in, or maybe you just find me ever so delightful that you'd love to continue following me in my recovery journey as I try and go back to skiing and biking on the regular, then please do check out my future videos and have a little look at my Patreon page. Any amount of support on this venture will be hugely, hugely appreciated. And if you know anyone that's been affected by these issues, anything to do with blood clots, send them over to watch my videos. I'm going to try to continue to give future in-depth updates of everything that's gone on my journey. I hope to interact with some of you soon, and if there's anything that you would like me to address, then please let me know in the comments and I will try and bring it up in a future video. But for now, I thank you very, very much for watching. Please like and subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you soon. Bye.